Hey everyone, my name is Simpsy. How you all doing? Welcome back to some more FC24 career mode here today on the channel. We're going to be starting Season 2, Episode 1 of my realistic and sensible Manchester United career series. So, if you'd like the sound of that, feel free to leave the video a like and subscribe if you're new. Would really much appreciate it. We're coming off Season 1 with an FA Cup and a Carabao Cup in our trophy cabinet. Now, unfortunately, we only finished in 4th. Barely making top 4 by a point. We unfortunately lost the league and we got knocked out in the round of 16. So going into Season 2 now, our managerial role is in jeopardy. We need to either try and win the Champions League or the Premier League. That's what I want to go with. So we've signed one new player for free, and that was Toni Kroos. He comes in on a free contract, and I've gone through and loaned and shortlisted a bunch of players. So we're going to have some transfer action here today. We will also have the Community Shield Cup final against Arsenal. We will need to sign some new players, and thank you for all the suggestions in the previous streams. So this is going to be an edited series. The main objective of this Season 2 is to try and win the Premier League or the Champions League, and I would like to make the 2 cup finals again. So, firstly, looking at our performances last season, we were the team that conceded the most goals in the Premier League. So, unfortunately, Onana is probably going to have to be loaned out, and we're going to need to bring in a new goalkeeper. Now, I would have liked to bring in Kobel. He's probably the best goalkeeper who's the youngest with a decent potential, but unfortunately, Dortmund are not interested in letting him go. So we're going to have to make a decision here. Also, we need a new left back. Arguably, we could deal with a right back and maybe move Dalot on that side. A lot of you guys suggested Theo Hernandez, who's a whopping 87 rated at 26 years of age in this game. And right back wise, I have identified a few players. Giovanni Di Lorenzo is actually quite good in this game. He's 30 years of age. He's worth 40 million. His price is so high because he just won the Champions League with Napoli. Reece James, a player that would be a little bit unrealistic to sign, but he's moved to Leipzig into this series, so it would be sensible to bring him in. We're also continuing with the sensible / realistic career mode, of course. Kim Min could be a potential centre-back we could look to bring in. Vivian's moved to AC Milan. Silva is probably a little bit too young, but I think we do need a first-team choice centre-back to help us out. So there's a fair few options here. Bremer from Juventus, potentially Sven Botman, and as well Tomori. Rafael Leao is pretty good, but we are on strict transfers, so a lot of these players will be quite hard to bring in. Also, I feel like they've changed player evaluation as well in FC23. So signing players, top-notch players, does cost quite a bit. Osman as well we could maybe look for, but I think he's just too far out of our price range now. He shot up to a 90 overall. You'd have to pay upwards of 150 million to 200. Griezmann might be someone we could look into as well. So there's a lot of options here. Whether or not we sign them this season or next season, we'll just keep them on the list. But we'll see how we go, eh? Alright, so I think firstly, we're going to try and go for Kim Min and bring the South Korean to the club. So Bayern Munich are negotiating with us for around about a fee of £55 million. There has been a South Korean connection at the club before, so I think it would be sensible and realistic for him to come to the club. Very, very sensible signing. 27 years of age, Bundesliga proven and Champions League proven centre-back. And it's realistic because Park Ji-sung used to play for Manchester United. And he is going to be our new centre-back, helping out our strength with Martinez and Rafael Varane, who will be playing a less of a role. Now, we're going to go after Reece James. Now, if he was currently at Chelsea, I would not make this signing. However, he's decided to leave the football club, and now is at Rasenball Leipzig. Now, to make this deal permanent, we are going to have to front up quite a bit of cash. They are negotiating with us for the services of Jadon Sancho, who I'm undecided what to do with him. I have put him up for loan because he's probably not going to fit into our formation this season, and he didn't have the best season last year, and I don't want his potential to stagnate. So Leipzig come back, and they have accepted the bid for Reece James, and the deal is now done. After leaving the Premier League, falling out of favour at Chelsea, he is now back at the club. I'm surprised Chelsea ended up selling him, but they were desperate as they finished in 10th or 11th last season, I believe. So no European football. Went out and spent a year at Leipzig. We've currently received an £80 million bid from Newcastle for Casemiro, which we're going to reject. Not yet. Maybe next year we might look into selling him. We have managed to sell Amrabat because I simply can't fit him in the squad. And for 30 million euros, I think that's a good bet. Now, last season, we simply leaked too many goals, and we are playing on the tactical view on ultimate difficulty, of course, and I feel like I need to restructure the team this season because, quite frankly, if we do lose a bunch of matches off the bat, we don't hit our objectives, there's a really good chance that we could get sacked this season. So I will be deploying a 5-2. It's essentially a 5-3-2. Now, that means wingers like Sancho and Antony won't be getting as much game time, but I think it will give the best out of Rashford and Dusan Vlahovic. Fernandes as well, until he leaves, I can't not justify having an attacking midfielder because he's simply amazing. Frankie de Jong and Casemiro are probably the best two midfielders in the world in a two. One defensive, one creative. And I think having an additional centre-back will allow us to not concede as many goals. Also, we do need to try and protect our goalkeeper because goals just leak in, particularly on ultimate difficulty. But still, finishing top 4, 2 cups, round of 16. The board didn't like what we achieved last year, but it was kind of acceptable. Also, I'm going to test out just pure default instructions compared to my tactic role as of last year. So we are in the American Cup and we've got some friendlies coming out. So we are now testing the 5 at the back, which led to a 2-0 victory over Villarreal. Scott McTominay scored in the 62nd, Dusan Vlahovic in the 41st. And James had a promising debut in America, which is nice. Now we have sold Victor Lindelof to Real Madrid. A £20 million bid came in, and that is very sensible and realistic as we obviously bought Varane off them. We owe them a centre-back. Now, because of our deals with Madrid, I think it's best to go in for Courtois. Now, I feel like all the young goalkeepers we're simply not going to be able to afford. It's going to go up to 100, 200, 150 million or so. So we're going to be able to get Courtois here for 50 million euros. Obviously, very sensible signing in the price range and realistic in the sense that he was a former Chelsea player. He has played in the Premier League before, and Real Madrid do sell old players to Manchester United, like Casemiro, Varane. We've even brought in Toni Kroos for free. So I would say this is a very, very sensible and, quite frankly, realistic signing for us, due to Onana just not being good enough, unfortunately. So here are the 3 players we've brought in. We've spent 150 million euros, and unless some massive sellings come in, I can't see that we're going to sign any more players. We go on to beat Atalanta 3-1 in the second friendly match. Courtois gets his unofficial debut. Dalot starts off the scoring. Rashford and Vlahovic with a goal. Moving on to another fixture, our third in America. We go out and beat Sevilla 2-0, thanks to a goal from Rashi and Vlahovic. And Bayindir has now gone on a 2-year loan to Nice, as potentially Onana might not go out, so he's going to be taking that loan, that position. He still might go out on loan. But now we have the Community Shield. The board doesn't really bother about it too much, but I do think it's a really good start for us to get a community trophy on the board. Not the most prestigious, but it'll do okay. We've also got a bunch of players to try and sell and move on as well. Now, unfortunately, Varane's stamina is just terrible in career mode for whatever reason. Also, I just thought I'd show you my settings and slidings because people ask all the time. I don't really know why. But anyway, 3-minute halves, ultimate difficulty, all on default settings here. There you go. You can stop asking. And now we can play this match down in Wembley against Arsenal. And just as a bit of an observation, I think FC24 is the hardest career mode on FIFA in recent years. There are so many good teams to face on ultimate difficulty. Arsenal are better, Liverpool, and Man City from previous years. Aston Villa and Newcastle do amazing as well. Arsenal looking for the first goal in this match. Odegaard fires it into Jesus. Gets a deflection off Kim and goes wide of the left post. 10 minutes in. Man United trying to build up an attack. Rashford backheels it to Fernandes. A fiery ball gets sent on in. Frankie de Jong denied. Still in the first half here. Casemiro looking for a play. Arsenal retain possession. Odegaard holds up the ball brilliantly. Finds Jesus. He hits it first time. And unfortunately we go a goal down just before the 33rd. And Mikel Arteta's Arsenal start off the scoring with an emphatic finish from a high-quality footballer. How on God's green earth did Manchester City let this man go? He's going to torture the Premier League this season. Arsenal significantly have improved, but as the seasons go on, other London clubs like Spurs and Arsenal and Chelsea will get even better. 1-0 down. We're trying to equalise here, but Ramsdale with a big save. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, a familiar face, obviously facing his former side, has allowed and helped Arsenal to go to a 2-goal lead, and it's a brilliant brace there, unfortunately, from Gabriel Jesus. Well, for us. Varane too exhausted after playing a lot pre-season, and Smalling is now in the defence. 2-0 down, trying to look for a little bit of salvation here. We have a pop shot. Rashford trying to put his name on the score sheet, and Ramsdale is having a absolute world-class performance for him. Rashford with 5 shots. He doesn't convert any. Gabriel Jesus has 3 and converts his 2. And unfortunately that's how it ended. Thanks to a brilliant brace from Gabriel Jesus, Manchester United are denied their first trophy of the season. Always sickening and gutting to see a team up there. But in this season, Arsenal are your Community Shield winners. Martin Odegaard, the captain, going to lift the trophy for the Gunners. Obviously not a main objective, but disappointing nonetheless. Moving on now, we probably can rotate the team slightly. I think maybe playing Martinez off the right. I will try and keep Raphael Varane unless I get a huge offer for him, but maybe Luke Shaw should be on that left-hand side. As Reece James comes in as our right fullback, Dalot has now been moved to left fullback. So we have improved our fullbacks, but it's been a bit of an interesting and sticky point. Jadon Sancho has been now loaned out because we received a really good 2-year offer from Atalanta. We're not using wingers, so we're simply going to lose his game time. And Anthony's ahead of him anyway. He had a really bad season last year, but maybe give him a year. We can increase his evaluation and maybe look to move him on next season. So we have the first match of the Premier League coming up against Crystal Palace. Then we face Spurs, and then we've got Chelsea, Liverpool, and Man City to come as well. My managerial role isn't in jeopardy just yet. Southampton, Crystal Palace, and Forest, I believe. No, there was another promoted side. Who cares? We'll figure it out. I think it was Luton, potentially. I can't remember exactly who got relegated last season. But first match of the Premier League season, we go and face Crystal Palace. Hopefully we can start this season off with a really good win. All right, tactical view, ultimate difficulty, 3-minute halves. Let's go. Frankie de Jong chips it over the top. 9 minutes in, and Rashford somehow hits a magnificent volley out of nowhere. And secret agent Dean Henderson lets it slide left of the post. Brilliant chipped ball. Frankie de Jong with the assist. And we're starting this fixture off so much better than that 2-0 battering at the hands of Arsenal in the Community Shield. 1-0 up. Crystal Palace looking to equalise. Eze to Michael. Crystal Palace go forward, back to Decore, who fires it in to Mikel. I don't know. I've never heard it pronounced. Well, let's go with Michael. He makes it 1-1, and Crystal Palace, not wanting to lose, well, their first game of the season, particularly at home, down in London, down in Croydon. 1-1. United still looking to stamp their authority on this match. Bruno Fernandes with the corner kick now. Can't find a target. Hartman heads it clear, only to the path of Luke Shaw, who is now a centre-back, converted from a full-back. Rashford gets his second shot blocked. It falls to Martinez, who surges forward, finds it back into Rashford. He ultimately gets the shot on target, but Dean Henderson manages to get a glove to it. Second corner kick now. Frankie de Jong decides to have a pop, and he is having a man of the match performance here today, picking up a 2-1 lead just before the 27th. Put in the influential ball to Rashford, and now puts his name on the score sheet. A goal and an assist. He looks to be Manchester United's best player on the pitch. 2-1 up. Crystal Palace trying to build up something. They have looked dangerous in this career series. And also, I have conceded a lot of goals to them. So, another goal to them wouldn't be out of the ordinary. But Martinez comes flying out, the butcher, as he does. And Rashford and United have a decent counter-attack here. Back on the inside to Vlahovic. It's Bruno Fernandes. And we managed to bring back a 3-1 lead after conceding that sketchy goal there to Crystal Palace. We're starting to control the tempo and the momentum of this football match. Half time, we come out, still with our 3-1 lead. Super happy with how the team is performing. Unfortunately, Courtois couldn't pick up a clean sheet on his debut. Man United trying to work forward. Vlahovic, not being the sole striker now, will need to learn how to help out with Rashford, but he still has that killer goal instinct, as you see there, picking up the 4-1 lead. Dusan Vlahovic has been a revelation since joining this football club. For £60 million, became United's top goal scorer and scored 40 in all comps last season. Fernandes puts his name on the score sheet here, and we've got the absolute two big fire cannons of Rashford and Vlahovic, the two goal machines, but you wouldn't underrate Bruno Fernandes from having a good season this year. He can pop up with a goal here and there. So this sketchy lead has now turned into a 5-1 drumming as the Red Devils look to run down the Crystal Palace defence. But a huge transfer has come during the middle of this match, and Gavi will be leaving Barcelona to join Newcastle United as United make it 6-1 thanks to Dusan Vlahovic. Casemiro back on the football, dictating the play. Still 6-1 up. Eze fires it into Michael. Good back heel, and Olise picks up his first goal of the match. A little bit of lack of concentration there, but it's not going to be enough. At this point, no more than a consolation goal coming in the 80th minute as United lead 6-2. And that's how it ended. We managed to beat Crystal Palace on the first day of the season. Moving on to match day 2 in the Premier League, we face Tottenham Hotspur. We're going to be hosting them at Old Trafford. We're facing newly appointed manager Postecoglou. 2 Aussies going to be battling it out in this fixture for the first time in Season 2 in the Premier League. So here we go. Spurs, no European football this season, I believe, quite frankly. Unfortunately for them, had a terrible season last year. Let's get stuck into them. 1 win up against Crystal Palace. The unfortunate loss to Arsenal. Manchester United have a huge opportunity here to continue with their good Premier League form, as Dusan Vlahovic unselfishly side passes it to Bruno Fernandes, and they go 1-0 up just before the 26th minute with their first real opportunity. Bruno Fernandes scoring 3 goals within 2 matches so far. Spurs shell-shocked, Spurs shattered. If they keep up playing like this will be a very typical Spursy performance. 1-0 up. Spurs looking to come back into this one as Bentancur finds Kulusevski inside to Sarr. It's an unlikely goal scorer, seeing as they've got Son, Kulusevski, a pretty loaded forward line. Richarlison. Sarr picks up the goal. Even without Harry Kane, Spurs still convert goals. Rashford now looking to try and get United's second goal of the match. Dusan Vlahovic gets on it, just inside the box, loads up with that absolute power of a left hook shot, runs to the touchline to celebrate with me, as Manchester United go into the half-time break with a 2-1 lead. Second half now, United with the first attack coming out from the break. Unfortunately, we sloppily give away possession. Van den Ven finds David Alaba, surprisingly leaving Real Madrid to join Spurs. Real Madrid have been gutted over previous years, losing multiple signings. Courtois and now Alaba in the same window. As Spurs go up the other end and tie things up, it is 2-2 at Old Trafford. United looking for this late winner. Great ball comes in to Martial, fresh off the bench. Never fear, Anthony Martial is here. He came from France. Simpson's been giving him a lot of chances, and he scored again. As he takes the lead late in the second half. Will that be enough for United to get over the line? And with this last kick with the Spurs' goalkeeper going up, it's saved in the end, and that's how it ended, a 3-2 victory. Moving on now to transfer deadline day. Unless some crazy or surprising big moves happened, we were able to lock in our transfers. But Di Lorenzo moved to Bayern for 43 million, so I'm happy we chose James over him. Lukadin has now left to join Valencia. Pereira has joined Fiorentina. We can't sign Lukaku. He's going to Leverkusen by the look anyway, because Chelsea won't negotiate with us. Lookman leaves Atalanta and joins Brentford, surprisingly. Lukaku going for a £34 million deal. A rumour comes in that Frankie de Jong might be joining Man City as they officially launch a massive bid for him. Same with Liverpool earlier in the window. We're going to decline that. I do find it quite annoying that even if you put it on strict transfers, you can't negotiate with rivals, but they can still annoy you with offers. More offers coming in for Scott McTominay. Looks like Chelsea are selling some of their players to Crystal Palace. We will go through some of the big signings, comings and goings, as Berardi joins Juventus, Pellegrini to Rasenball Leipzig. They're spending that Reece James money. Barcelona coming with a late bid for Luke Shaw, but it's a player plus cash deal, as FC Barcelona are, well, strapped for a bit of cash. Coming to the last hour now here. Williams, not going to go out to Aston Villa. I only want to loan my players to foreign teams and not direct Premier League rivals. So a pretty boring deadline day ultimately. So here are the comings and goings from our club. James, Courtois, Kim coming in, spending over £150 million. All very, very sensible and, might I say, realistic signings as well. Depending on Onana, we are going to try and loan him out in January. He might come back into the fold. Amrabat leaves to Fenerbahce. Lindelof to Madrid. Garnacho goes on a 2-year loan to Athletic Bilbao. Sancho's gone out on loan to Atalanta. Bennett to West Brom. McNeil to Saint Etienne. Pellistri to Brentford. Voss to Braga. Short to Darmstadt. Medbury to Girona. Fish to Braga. Dallo to Roma. And here are some of the big deals. Darwin Nunez leaving to join Barcelona. Torres goes back to Man City. Arajo, whatever his name is, goes to Juventus. Gavi goes to Newcastle for $64 million. Isaac leaves Newcastle to go back to Dortmund, which is surprising. Blade goes to... no, Balde, that's not Blade. Romero goes to Napoli. Fratesi, he goes to Atletico Madrid. Interesting. Molina joins Milan. Mendes to Atleti. Abraham joins Real Sociedad. Mazraoui joins Lazio. Lookman to Brentford for $42 million. That's a big signing for them. Christian to Bayern. Hosalik to Sporting Lisbon. Mendes to Inter. Surprising to see the Czech striker go over there. Gintner to Barcelona. Chilwell to Forest. Alaba goes to Spurs. Willock, surprising move to Union Berlin. Lukaku to Leverkusen. Moving on now to another Premier League match. We had a 1-1 draw against Nottingham Forest, and we managed to get 1 point. Unfortunately, our former player Alanga scored against us. Back in the league now, we currently sit in third after 3 games, and now we have a match against Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Arsenal are atop, followed by Everton, which is surprising, but here we go. Going to be facing Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. Manchester Derby in Season 2. City, with the first real attack, ultimately gets snuffed out, only as far as Kovacic. They're right back on it. And Kovacic, being the absolute goal-scoring playmaker he now is for this side, starts off the scoring 6 minutes in, and unfortunately celebrates in front of the Stretford end. We go 1-0 down very early on. United looking to try and switch on, ultimately don't, as City look to go back-to-back within 22, and they do. Courtois maybe just even exposed at 90 overall rating. Maybe it wasn't Onana, maybe it's just goalkeepers on ultimate tactical difficulty. 2-0 down, United need to lift as Bruno Fernandes goes forward. Ball somehow finds Dusan Vlahovic, who, if I do say so myself, scores one of the better looking goals we've scored this second season. Somehow gets a little bit of power onto it and bends it in just outside the box. From an expected goal of a 0.26, kills it around Ederson. 2-1 down going into the second half. It's going to be a yellow card for Rodri, and Rashford now has an opportunity to bring it in. He does, And we somehow get Dusan Vlahovic onto the end of it. He picks up the ball, wants to go back and reset, as United have scored the last 2 goals back-to-back. The momentum is with us, and set piece / headed goals still seem to be very much back in FC 24. Fernandez fires it into Vlahovic. He finds Rashford. These two are having an absolute mega duo up top, like Dwight and Cole. So good. Like chalk and cheese. As Rashford makes it 3-2. Just before the 58th. Mount, fresh off the bench, finds James, and it's an unlikely goal scorer here. Reece James scores on his Manchester United first season, which is surprising that he actually floated that far forward, and probably wins and seals the winner of this match in his first Manchester derby for the Red Devils. 15 metres out, he floats forward and converts the goal like a striker. And we obviously go out and beat Pep Guardiola's Manchester City 4-2 with an emphatic result. Moving on now to another match in the Premier League. We go over to Sheffield, managing to beat them 3-1 thanks to Vlahovic, James again, and Casemiro. We've got some players going out on loan. A deal finally got finalised for Mason Greenwood. He's going to be going on a 2-year loan to Borussia Dortmund, coming back from, what was he, Getafe last season. The Champions League group has been drawn, and this is quite ridiculous. Leipzig and Rasenball, owned by the same owners in the same group. I think it's a bug. That legally can't happen in real life, but it's a pretty easy group we've drawn. Definitely the favourites, Anderlecht the other side. Pellegrini obviously joining Leipzig, and funnily enough, Reece James will be able to face his former side. Dusan Vlahovic has scored 7 in 5 matches, and he is red-hot favourite to potentially break the Premier League goal-scoring record. As we go to the first match of this year's Champions League to face Rasenball Leipzig. Easier group. We're going to need to put on an impression on early to try and dominate it. Obviously, finishing in second last year to a in-form Galatasaray in first. Unfortunately, Bayern Munich not making it. But Timo Werner there, unfortunately at the Stratford end, back in England, his old stomping ground when he played for Chelsea, receives the ball into feet and fires a left foot hook shot, smashing the left side of the netting here. And unfortunately, we concede the first goal of this match to Timo Werner, a decent and high-quality FC 24 player. I nearly recommend picking him up. Pace and finishing is a must in career mode, and he's really got it all for a budget price. 1-0 down. Leipzig looking to increase their lead. Werner finds Pellegrini on the inside, and Jose Mourinho is going to rub salt into the wound of this football club again, allowing Pellegrini to leave Roma. He now has the captain's armband as the number 29 Italian international hits a 0.31 expected goal and converts it past Courtois. United go 2-0 down. And we're just simply not playing very good football here at the moment, as Leipzig easily get their third with Andre Silva. Cool, calm and collected. Leipzig are now making their claim to be top of this Champions League group. So this season, I want to try and get to the knockout rounds once again. Anything can happen, but the board want us to win. We need to get to a final. We need to go far in the Champions League this season, or otherwise I'm simply going to get sacked. We need to win the Champions League or the Premier League, or we could potentially get sacked. We did win 2 trophies last year, the FA Cup and the Carabao, which were very narrow victories. So we want to try and get there again. One of those cups we would be favoured for, I would imagine. But we need to try and get back into this match. Screaming, yelling at the boys on the touchline. Vlahovic finds Fernandez. He just goes for a miracle shot and somehow gets it past the Hungarian Galasic. And a little bit of hope is now breathed into this match, thanks to the captain, Bruno Fernandes. It's 3-1 at Old Trafford, and crazier things have happened. Hits it from 21 metres out as it shatters the back of the net. Bruno Fernandes, Portuguese, magnifique. A little bit of Bruno Fernandes magic there. Gets the goal. 3-1 down. Leipzig, shell-shocked after that goal going in. They want to try and make it 4-1. Andre Silva, they go forward. Timo Werner has a shot. And this time Courtois concedes another. And although we got that goal from Bruno Fernandes, if it keeps going like this, it simply will not be our day at Old Trafford. Timo Werner doubles up and proves that he's still a top quality European striker, as the German hits it from a distance of 16 metres. And Courtois, on his Manchester United Champions League debut, concedes 4 at Old Trafford. I tried to diagnose the problem, bringing in a new goalkeeper, but the symptom just might be ultimate difficulty in this game, as Rashford goes up the other end, holds up the ball well, does somehow manage to release the shot in the 53rd, so still plenty of football to be played, but going 4-1 down pretty early on in the first half, it is going to be a bit of a mountain to climb. But at least Rashford is putting his name on the score sheet and stepping up when we need him. Him and Dusan Vlahovic have probably been the two best players this season. Bruno up there as well. We're just seeing all of the strikers, but sitting deep with the 5 at the back does invite pressure. But there's not really much we can do. We just have to sort of sit and watch, and hopefully they can pull out a win. Werner now goes for another, and he's just absolutely in red-hot form here today. Ultimately getting a hat-trick, making it 5-2. Courtois didn't have anything on it in the end. And it's another great goal from the German. Now going to be staking a claim for the Deutsch international side. Coming to the late parts of this second half. Kim finds Casemiro. Nice 1-2 pass back to him. Bruno Fernandes back to Rashford. Casemiro floats forward from deep line playmaker to now offensive forward. He makes it 5-3. It's going to take 2 crazy goals at the Stretford end to at least get it back to a tie, but we might not have enough time. And with this last attempt, unfortunately we did it. We lose our opening match in the Champions League 5-3 to a great Leipzig side. Moving on now to a match against Leeds. We're going to go away to Ellen Road. And ultimately, we managed to win 2-0, thanks to a goal from Casemiro in the 37th, and then one from Rashi late on. Moving on now to a match in the Carabao Cup. We go out and beat Brentford 3-2. Rashford picking up 2 early on, and a hat-trick, ultimately. Back in the Premier League, we're going to be hosting Leicester now at Old Trafford. We go out and beat them 2-0, thanks to a 6-minute goal from Dusan Vlahovic to get us going, and Fernandes with the sealer. Moving on now to a match against Salzburg. We managed to beat them 2-1, thanks to a brilliant brace from Frankie de Jong. Back in the Premier League now, we have the Northwest Derby. After 7 games, we sit atop. Arsenal 2nd, Liverpool 3rd, Newcastle 4th, and Spurs sneaking into that 5th position on goal difference. But here we go, away against Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. Northwest Derby. It's going to be a good one as always. Liverpool with the first attack. 2 minutes in. Gakpo finds Diaz. Back to Gakpo on the inside to McAllister. And Luis Diaz gets the shot away after reclaiming some decent Premier League form. This looks like it's going to be a super high scoring affair. 7 minutes in. 15 metres out. The Colombian Luis Diaz. What a pickup he was for Liverpool. Has been a sensational player. If he could be half as good as Mo Salah and some of the amazing forwards they've had over previous years, his price will be worth its weight in gold. 5 minutes in, the Colombian gets this Northwest Derby live. 1-0 up, Liverpool pushing for their second in the 32nd, and Luis Diaz pops up again. Unfortunately for United, getting a brace pretty early on in this fixture. And once again, maybe this United team is more suited to being flat track bullies. We concede a lot, but that's what tactical difficulty is on Ultimate. It is super, super hard. I think winning 2 trophies in our first season is a really good understatement, but I'm curious to see where this career mode journey goes, regardless if we don't win any trophies this year. But the way things are going, it's going to be mighty tough. If we do get sacked, I think I might keep this save, go to another club. It'd have to be a European top side, but never say never, as Frankie de Jong might just rescue our Premier League form here. Although we're at the top, but we just concede so many crazy goals. 5 at the back, not really too much we can do about it with a 90 rated goalkeeper. Probably one of the best in the game. I do prefer shot stoppers, particularly those over 6 foot. But somehow, Frankie de Jong goes up the other end. And I'm talking about terrible goalkeepers on my end. Alisson lets in an absolute stinker there. I don't know how he did that. Not getting that one tucked in under his arm. Ultimately hitting his under armour. But it's 2-1 and plenty of football to play. Liverpool back on the attack. Diaz looking dangerous. 5 at the back is definitely allowing us to concede less goals comparatively to last season, but we still let in silly stuff like that. I think what it is the tactical AI doesn't tend to contain and close down players anywhere near as quickly compared to previous FIFAs. But I am really enjoying the tactical ability, like watching the game played out, properly being a real football manager. But it's going to be tough, and I'm super excited to see where this career series goes. 3-1 down, Szoboszlai out the other end, Shaw with the interception, and it goes and fizzles out. But it's going to be a penalty potentially as we go to POV here, and Malacia gets sent off, and the toys have been well and truly thrown out the pram. I always think it's pretty harsh, the double penalty. I don't think there was much in that, particularly not a red card. If you are going to give a penalty, which was a soft one, I think you're better off giving him a yellow. But it's going to be Mohamed Salah to step up. 75 minutes in with his unique run-up, and Courtois has conceded a hat-trick. Mo Salah now going to drop 4, and this is turning to an absolute shamble away in Liverpool. The Scousers have absolutely shown us up, and that is a world-class penalty there by Mo Salah. Player down, 5 at the back. We'll need to restructure. Mo Salah comes off, Oyarzabal on, Martial comes off the bench as well. Gets a late goal. Great to see him score. Great for him to have that impact. But with a player down and 2 goals down, it's going to be incredibly difficult for Manchester United to salvage anything from this. Courtois with the kick out, but that is probably going to be it. Yep, that's it. She's all over Red Rover. 6 goals in this match. Really good Northwest Derby. Klopp, unfortunately, simply was better and got the better of us. Moving on now to a match against Chelsea. We're going to be hosting them at Old Trafford. We've let our top of the league spot slip as Arsenal go atop. But we're going to be hosting Chelsea, who I believe don't have any Champions League or European football at all this season. So they're going to be making a challenge for top 4. Same with Spurs, Mudryk, Broja. Let's get stuck into the Blues. Facing Chelsea, we're going to be bringing a couple of former players. As Trips is unhappy on the bench, he could potentially request a transfer. We couldn't move him onto the right club. We had a lot of offers for some of those players on that transfer list, but I refuse to allow them to go to Premier League rivals. And I actually consider now Liverpool, Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal, Newcastle, Spurs, and even Aston Villa rivals. I might be open to a West Ham deal, but I would nearly take a cut if they could be moved on elsewhere. Unfortunately, incredibly early on in this fixture, the Albanian international Broja, after having a sensational season at Southampton, is now back at the football club, scoring 6 goals in 7, and is now their main forward. Pochettino has these boys incredibly well drilled. They've maintained that 1-goal lead in the first half and now looking to increase it more so going into the second as Mudryk gets on the ball. The Ukrainian has a pop and converts, and it's 2-0 just before the 50th there. And I think it's getting to the point now against these top Premier League sides and rivals, maybe even top European, we might be in a bit of a dip of form, but we need to get our form back on track. If we keep it up like this, I could be getting a early summer holiday, if you know what I mean. The sacking is on the cards, as James goes in against his former side, finds Bruno, and it's 2-1 at the Stretford end, keeping this fixture and our Premier League hopes alive. But it's going to be super close, super competitive, ultimately competitive, you could say, on this difficulty. But only time will tell how this fixture will go, and ultimately the season. Firing it just right of the near post, Bruno Fernandes sneaks it in, now pushing 30 years of age. Also, everyone is just that 1 year older in Season 2 now, which you can't forget. We will need to move on some of the older players eventually. Bruno's now 30, 31, I believe. Casemiro is 33. And Varane isn't any younger. Unfortunately, we go 3-1 down in the 60, and Broja is now having a really good run. And maybe we need to bring in another centre-back. Maybe Luke Shaw isn't that good as that left centre. Although in FIFA generally, fullbacks, particularly like Luke Shaw, can actually play adequately in the defence. It is a bit of a meta on Ultimate Team that fullbacks can play quite good centre-backs. I've seen that quite a bit. But so far, if we continue this form up, it looks like Pochettino will be taking the 3 points here at Old Trafford. Unless our Red Devil boys have a bit of a lift. And some dreams can hopefully happen as Vlahovic comes out of nowhere and nails one for us. He has been such an underrated signing. 60 million, 40 goals, nearly $1 million a goal in that first season. He's definitely scored way more than 60 goals already over 2 comps. Vlahovic brings it back. How will this fixture go on? (3-2) down. Chelsea looking for number 4. Mudryk and Broja having an absolute field day. Goes back to Courtois. He has an opportunity to roll it out, but he bombs it quickly. It finds Vlahovic with a slick little flick on. Casemiro now. Back to James. He loses possession, and Chelsea have another chance to go forward. Martinez and Kim caught ball watching as Broja, the brute, goes forward. Nkunku hits a crazy goal outside the box and ultimately celebrates Chelsea's 4-2 victory as the bench and the substitutes come screaming onto the pitch. It's gutting. It's heart-wrenching seeing some of our guys down on the pitch as they know they've bottled this one. As Nkunku sends a really good goal forward. But there was 3 players there that should have put a deflection on. Shaw didn't put much on it. Martinez comes flying over. It could have very well disrupted the vision of Courtois. But Nkunku, who had a pretty quiet match in this one, Broja and Mudryk definitely being the better forward line. He just pops up out of nowhere. Frankie goes forward valiantly to try and save some face. Rashford gets it. Will we get a consolation goal? And we do. Vlahovic nails it in the 91st to make it look a little bit more respectable, but Chelsea unfortunately just looked like the better side early on. I guess it's okay to pad our goal difference a bit, but we should be wanting to win this match and stealing a draw, which unfortunately we couldn't do. Vlahovic, great to see him in pretty decent form, taking his chances when he can, but it's really the defence in midfield. So it's really hard to find a balance. We scored a lot of goals last season. We're re-tinkering our defence, but also we are playing with a new tactic. We are still playing the Gegenpress with a new formation, but it's still pretty early days in this career mode. But losing results like this against some of the big sides, your Liverpools, your Chelsea, it does give us a concern if we are wanting to try and win our first Premier League, try and win our first Champions League. Can I do it? Is it me? Is it the squad? I'm trying to keep this career series sensible and realistic. We could bring in Mbappe and Neymar and go crazy, but I won't. I want to try and win it sensibly. But yeah, unfortunately we didn't get the cookies in that one. 4-3 after 90 minutes. As we now have to look to a midweek Champions League fixture, which we are doing better in. Maybe we're just a cup side. Maybe we're not as good in the Premier League as I think we are. Moving on now, we currently sit in 3rd, Anderlecht in 2nd. We're going to be facing them away in Belgium. Salzburg haven't picked up any points, which is surprising. They got Kasper Dolberg leading the line. I kind of forgot about that guy. He was a really hot prospect out of Ajax. His careers fell off a bit. 7 minutes in, Dolberg, after me talking smack in the press conference, goes forward. Anderlecht holding possession. Dolberg back on the football again. Finds Diawara. And Anderlecht make it 1-0. And it makes me think, where would we be if we had Onana in goal? Courtois is struggling, let alone a goalkeeper who is 4 overall ratings lower than him. Unfortunately, away they step up. But this is FC 24 career mode for you. Goalkeepers just leak goals, particularly on ultimate difficulty. He didn't even get a glove to it. Didn't react quick enough. And potentially our Champions League group is in jeopardy. Us qualifying. We need to try and make that top 2 bracket. To be fair, we narrowly only qualified last year. We get to reset from kickoff. And United look to build something up. Rashford gets it in quick. Beats 1. Ultimately beats not 2. And Anderlecht look to recycle the football and build it up from the back. Dolberg back on the ball. Unfortunately for the Anderlecht side, Kim comes up. Frankie wins it. Fires it to Vlahovic. He beats 1. Dusan finds Rashford. And Manchester United convert. We're back in this one. Maybe I'm being a little bit sour. Maybe I'm being a little bit soft on the boys. But they somehow managed to pick up a goal here away in Belgium. And they just need to switch on and hold on for this fixture. As surprisingly, Mingele is in goal, the former Liverpool player. 1-1, just before the 44th. United with a corner kick. Great ball comes in. Finds Dalot, who gets Rashford on the inside. And somehow puts that one past. Maybe that first goal was not us necessarily playing badly. It was just, or structurally badly, it was just a minor mishap in concentration. As Rashford steps up away in Belgium and scores a very tidy and nice brace for the Manchester United Football Club. 2-1. Still keeping our Champions League form alive. Not the most competitive group, but a group we want to definitely try and top and far out, at least qualify. Rashford in some red-hot Champions League form. He could be our top goal scorer of the Champions League, if anything is to go by, as Vlahovic is doing better stats-wise in the Premier League. With 2 attempts, 2 goals for Rashi, he's doing well. We come out from half-time. United looking for a third. Rashford picks up an assist nearly as Fernandes fires it off the crossbar, and that's just simply unlucky. We somehow win it back. Casemiro on the ball, back to Rashford, and finally gets his well-deserved hat-trick from a shot outside the box. And we're starting to show a little bit of form, a little bit of a pick-me-up as we go into the later parts of today's video. Hopefully we don't leave it on a sour note, but there's still 50 minutes of potential chaos to come. Mingele does get a glove to it, but it wasn't enough to stave away the goal. (3-1) up. Anderlecht looking to react quickly. They fire it into Dolberg. 70 minutes of this match have been played. I'm still very much sticking to my first team starting 11 and only rotating when the stamina gets low. You haven't seen much of Martial. You haven't seen much of Onana. We have been bringing on Varane quite a bit, but no trips. Not much Malacia, particularly with that red card. I like to keep my starting 11 quite lean, unless injuries or stamina becomes an issue. But Dusan Vlahovic makes it 4-1, and United are red-hot favourites to win this match now as they are running through the Anderlecht defence in Belgium. Vlahovic steps up after a brilliant Marcus Rashford hat-trick. He puts his name on the score sheet, the number 9, and Mingele may be being a little bit hard done by with those 2 goals going in. If he was slightly higher rated potential-wise, he narrowly, he might have saved them. He only narrowly didn't get a glove to both of them. Back on the ball. Can we make it 5? We've got 5 minutes. Good omen as Fernandes finds Reece James, who floods forward. He unselfishly finds Rashford for goal number 4, and that's 5 goals. And what a statement from the club. Look, Anderlecht aren't the best side. They're not even probably a top half. I know they're probably a top 5 Belgium side, but geez. Belgium, I don't even think is in Europe's top 5 leagues. So we should be putting away a team like this, but they sort of caught us ball watching and flat-footed early on as Marcus Rashford sends through another great goal for him. Ultimately, we pick up our Champions League form, beating Anderlecht a whopping 5-1, thanks to 4 goals. Would you believe it? 4 goals from Marcus Rashford. So we're going to have a little bit of hope, a little bit of sunshine towards the end of this episode as Alex Scott interviews Marcus Rashford. We're going to end things here with a 3-1 victory over West Ham. Rashford, Fernandes picking up the first 2 goals. and Frankie de Jong getting the cherry on top in the 89th minute. So, unfortunately, on that note, it's time to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed Season 2, Episode 1 of this Manchester United career mode. We've had some ups and downs here today, but I'm really enjoying this Manchester United career series. We've done the entirety of Season 1 already. We fully live streamed it on YouTube, so you can go check that out in a different playlist. I'm going to take a little bit of a break from streaming, but we're going to be doing videos now every single day, so stay tuned for Season 2, Episode 2 of this Manchester United career mode coming out tomorrow, and it's going to be interesting to see what we do with this season. I am open to doing Season 3, but it depends on what we achieve. I would love to win the Premier League this season. I would love to maybe win the Champions League. Honestly, if we don't win either, it's probably going to be a failure. I do want to try and win another Cup, Carabao or FA, seeing as we won 2 last year. So we did win the 2 domestic cups, but it's really hard to tinker with this United side. I am really enjoying the challenge of the tactical view on Ultimate Difficulty. I think it's kind of insane that we haven't played a single game of FC 24 this season, but we still have managed to win 2 trophies with this United side. So hopefully you guys stick around and enjoy the career series with me as well. A lot of football to be played. We've got the January transfer window, so you're more than welcome to let me know players and suggestions. I'd love them to be realistic, so do think of that when you let me know comments. So preferably either nationalities or nationalities that have been linked with the club previously, or we've got, like for example, Park Ji-sung, South Korean, obviously played for United. We can bring in Kim. Maybe news articles that have linked people, you can let me know those as well. If either that doesn't happen, sensible signings. For example, Reece James left Chelsea. They got rid of him. They sold him. They said he was not welcome at the football club. Goes to Leipzig. Wants to come back to the Prem. We bring him in. Also, Real Madrid. Aging stars. United tend to pick them up. It's very sensible. It's even realistic. You could argue the both. That Varane and Casemiro coming in, 2 aging Madrid players. We've got a really strong connection at United. We can now bring in the likes of Courtois and Toni Kroos on loan. Also, speaking of Toni Kroos, you might not have seen him much in this episode. We have been bringing him on. He is not been that good. I don't know what it is, but these like pre-contract players don't always do the best from us. So he is at the club, but he hasn't been playing very good football for us. Anyway, unfortunately, on this note, I have to end the video here. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you haven't already. Stay tuned for more videos on the channel. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Have a fantastic rest of your day. My name has been Simpzy, and I will, of course, see you in the next one. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much. Goodbye.